Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we are doing an impromptu video. I had no plans on shooting a video today. However, I have a repair to do and I thought I've never done this, so I'm putting it on camera for you guys. Today we're doing a video on Bondo repair. I know it sounds so sophisticated, right? Well, it's not, but I wanted to showcase this because I've never done this on my channel before and I have the perfect piece. I had this beautiful dresser, but there was just something about it that was bugging me. And it was this 80s embellishment that it just looked like a seashell or something from the sea and didn't like it. Of course, I had to wait until after I painted it to decide that. I kind of thought if I painted it, it wouldn't look as bad. It does. So it's just one drawer, so that's what we're working on today. I'm going to be showing you guys how you can make something like this disappear. So stay tuned. Here it is in all its glory, and it's going to be gone soon. This beautiful 80s seashell type look. I don't know if it's a seashell or a weird fan or it looks like a sea creature, but it's going. I am just over it. I painted this entire piece. Do not like it. Thought once I had it painted it might look better. It doesn't. So it's the only drawer that has the embellishment, and today we are going to attempt to conceal it so you'll never know. This video, yes, sitting on my lap, is going to be using, I'm going to be using the Mercaderos 5.0 orbital sander. I'm going to start out with a 150 grit sandpaper, sanding this flush as I can get it. If not, maybe a little bit even deeper, and then I will be filling with Bondo. So, fingers crossed, let's hope this. A little progress report. Started it, and it's sanding down just fine. I have a little ways to go, but that's okay. I'd rather go slow and be cautionary than to go crazy with a really aggressive grit sandpaper. So back at it I go. All right, for today's project, we are using this Bondo. I got it at Ace Hardware. The gentleman recommended it, saying it was the easiest one. So what I'm going to do is be taking out a bit of Bondo. Ooh, it is very sticky. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to put some onto, I'm just using a cardboard piece right here, and then I'm going to add my cream hardener and mix it together. All right, so I'm putting the hardener into the Bondo and mixing it together, and we are going to do this for a moment. I'll do it off camera and you'll see what it looks like before I go ahead and put it on. It is smelly, and so don't do this indoors or wear a respirator because it's really stinky. And it is now pink, so it is ready to go ahead and be put on our surface. It says not to mix up too much, so I just went with a smaller amount, which it looks like a lot, but I went with a smaller amount to start with. I have a big area to fill. So after I go ahead and fill it, it says to wait 20 to 30 minutes, and then you can go ahead and start your sanding process. All right, because it's funny and I have to show you guys, hopefully you can see that on camera. I took this inside to show my husband and ask him if he thought it was sanded down enough. And he said, ooh, let's make something. And he drew a little bird on there and said we should make this look like a peacock. I don't think so. Anyway, I just thought that was funny. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the Bondo on here. I'm just gonna apply it with my little wood stick that I have here. And I wanna push it down really well into all of the open grooves here. And it's messy, you guys, so I decided to put a glove on because the last thing I really want is Bondo stuck all over my fingers. And yeah, so anyway, I actually think I mixed up a really good amount for the first time as to not waste any, which is key. You don't want to make too much because then you're just wasting your product. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth it out now. And then once I'm going to push this in a little bit further into all the grooves so that I make sure that there's no bubbles in there. And then once I get that all pushed in, I'm gonna go ahead and set my timer. I will let this sit for about 20-30 minutes. And the guy at the hardware store said don't let it sit too long because the harder it is that it sits, the longer it is that it sits, it's harder to sand. He said it's actually kind of best to sand it when it's a little bit before the hardened time. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and continue to kind of work this around and make sure I get it in everywhere. Okay, so it's all dry. I started to grab my sander and go to town and realized I'm in the middle of shooting a video. So what I did was I put 100 grit sandpaper on my sander and I'm starting now to smooth it out. I set my timer, it's been 20 minutes. The gentleman at the hardware store said 20 to 30 minutes, but don't let it go full because it'll be a little hard to sand. So I'm gonna go ahead and use use my 100 grit sandpaper to sand this out smooth and then see if I need to add any more Bondo on top of it. I went ahead and did one more skim coat of the Bondo just because I went a little heavy right in this area here of sanding and I could feel a dip. You'd probably never see it, but I could feel it. So I wanted to go ahead and build it back up just a tiny bit. So I got a little too aggressive with the sanding. Even though I had a high grit sandpaper, it still took it down pretty good. So I just wanted to go ahead and make sure everything looks beautiful and unseen. So far I'm super happy. 20 minutes, holy cow, I love that. So another 20 minutes and this one will be sanded. So here we are at the end of the second coat of Bondo here, and it's absolutely perfect. The next step is going to be to prime this. So I'm going to go ahead and prime this. You can see I went ahead and sanded the entire drawer front to make sure everything was perfectly smooth. This is the primer I'm going to use today. I'm outside my shop because I have other finished pieces in there and I'm just doing this one drawer, so I came outside. This is the primer I'm using today. This is one of my go-to primers when I just have like a small piece or a small section. It is fantastic when I don't want to bust out the spray gun and do the whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this primer and then we'll be ready for paint. All right, so you didn't get to see the primer go on in action because I forgot to hit the record button. Sorry about that, but no big deal. It's just primer, but I wanted to show you guys. Look at that. You cannot tell that there was ever anything there. So once this finishes drying, I'm going to do one more coat of primer and then it is ready to paint. I am so happy with the outcome. Hey guys, here it is. This is our drawer with the weird 80s shell embellishment. It is gone, disappeared as though it was never there. I'm gonna get in really close so you guys can see. Gone. Cannot see it at all. I'm super happy with the result. It just goes to show you that you can change the way things look with a little extra work. We are at the end of the video. Now see, that wasn't as hard as you thought it might have been or as intimidating to work with something like Bondo. The worst part about it, it just stinks. So if you're working in a very enclosed area, I would suggest putting a respirator on because it does have a very odorous smell. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I will list the products that I use down below. Thank you for being subscribers. Keep subscribing so you can get all of my videos and be a part of my YouTube community. It helps support my channel and I sure do appreciate it. If you have any questions or positive comments, make sure you leave them down below. I love engaging with you guys. Thanks, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.